Welcome to another episode of Decoupaging with Michelle. Remember, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. In today's episode, we're going to show you how do you go from this, just a blank old constitutional can, into this. A smash can, decoupage, floral design you can hang up anywhere you want. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take one of these big constitutional cans. This is a really huge one. I actually get my cans from a local restaurant. I have a friend who owns a restaurant, and they are kind enough to get these cans to me, so that's fantastic. So I get them, I clean them out, I take the paper off, and then then you cut the bottom off so it'll be open at both ends. And I'm not going to show you this part because it would require going to my garage. But what I do next is I actually take my can with both ends cut out, and I take it to my garage, and I use my vise, and I squeeze one end of the can. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So after I use my vise, it's nice and squishy on one end, and this is a nice oval shape on top. And so this just makes for a really great shape to hang something in. The cool thing about these is it's interesting. These cans come in like different depths, and some are really hard and some are really soft. And so you can get some really cool different shapes for the openings, which I think is really cool. So when I start this project, I don't, other than just kind of doing a general just wipe off of the can with some alcohol, there's nothing else I really do to prep the can. So then what I do is I take my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the color linen white, and I will put 2 coats of this on the can. A lot of my other, when I do the jars, I typically sponge everything because I'm not too keen on the lines that the brush makes. When I make these, I actually use the brush. It gives it a really rustic look. I actually sand my paint down a little bit when I'm done to give it kind of the rustic edge look. So I use this, and I actually do 2 coats of it. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Now I keep my paint here in this little side jar. I use a Tostito jar. And I keep it in there just because I use so much paint, and I try to keep the paint off the edges of the can so I can keep my can sealed. So I always use one of these small containers of paint. And then I just simply, it's pretty easy. I don't know, nothing great or challenging about this part. I just simply put a coat on. And this is just a nice, I consider it more of a base coat. So it doesn't have to be real thick. It doesn't have to be this, amazing coverage. Again, because I'm going to do some pretty rustic sanding of this when the 2 coats of paint are done, and the picture's decoupaged on there. So I just kind of do this. You can see this pretty well covered there. You do want to make sure that you have any clumps of paint that you might get on here, that you get those off. We don't want clumpies of paint. Hope you guys can see that okay. I'll take that down a little bit. I think that's a little easier for you guys to see. I think I zoomed in on my camera a little bit. Sorry about that. So we're just going to sit here and do this coat, and then what I'll do is I will let this coat dry pretty thoroughly. It doesn't really take a long time. Usually I let it dry for a couple hours if I'm doing a big load of these or something. I recently just did I did 25 of these cans. There's a local lavender farm in my area that's opening for the season, and so I made a bunch of lavender, and that's actually what I'm going to make here is a lavender design for that farm. So here's the coat. I'm going to let this dry. And then once it dries, I'll put a second coat on this. And then I'll let that second coat dry. I'm going to set this down here. And then once that second coat dries, you're going to have a finished can that's painted. And it's going to look like this. This is a finished can. And then here's the fun thing about these projects, and I love using different sizes. So this is the big Constitution can. This is a soup can. I think this was lunch one day. I think this is a progressive soup can. I even use the little ones. I don't have any right now, but I use the little ones, the cans that the condensed milk comes in, or the tomato paste. Those little ones make absolutely adorable hangers. So you can really do a couple things with these, which is fantastic. So we're going to do this lavender design here. This was a napkin. I'm going to show you this design. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love this. One of my favorite designs. This was on a napkin. It had 4 of the identical prints on the napkin. And what I've done is I've just separated, I've cut them in 4, and I've actually taken this ply off. So this is just the single ply of the tissue. So I've already kind of prepped that. The one thing I do want to do is I'm going to edge my napkin, because when I put it on my can, I don't want to see any of these lines. And when I edge it, the tissue will blend in nicely to the can. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I just take a nice firm brush, usually something thin and firm. And then I take my water. This is just the cap of water, the cap from the water bottle. And I'll just dip that in there. I then, put a little bit of the excess on my hand, so I don't get all kinds of a big old glob of water on my napkin and get it all wet. So I'm just going to make a nice circle edge around this. And this will tear off pretty easily. It just makes a really pretty design. Like I said, this is actually one of my favorite designs. I put this on jars, and then the cans, I think, just really look really nice. So that's edged. Now I use a brush. They have like water pens, which is a brush with kind of water on the end of it. I've never used that. The paintbrush works well for me. So then I'm just gonna, you can see the watermark there around the edge there. I got some paint from a prior project on this, but that's okay because we're gonna rip it off. I'm gonna tear that right off of there. And I think my napkin's drying because I'm doing too much talking here. So I'm gonna just tear off these wet bits. I am gonna have to go back and edge a little bit more. There's some places I don't like how they turned out. I'm trying to think what I used in my last project that was all pink like that. So I'm just going to re-wet this bottom out. I'm going to go along this top again and tear that off. I'm going to tear this bottom off. And again, I just get rid of that straight edge, and I want to do this kind of jagged edge here. And the reason that I do that is it allows for this napkin to blend into the white of the can, so you can't see where the napkin ends and the can begins. So that's kind of the point of this. Just kind of cleaning that up a little bit. That looks perfect. So then I'm going to get my can here. And the nice thing about these cans is it's pretty forgiving. If you're not perfectly centered or you're off a little bit, cans are very forgiving. So I think that looks pretty good there. And then the next step I do is I take my Mod Podge. I like to use the matte finish for my projects. And then, of course, we never shake our Mod Podge. We have to roll it like this back and forth to avoid getting air bubbles in it. My Mod Podge is actually almost empty. It's getting pretty low. I'm gonna have to make this a wonderful trip to Hobby Lobby. We always love doing that, right? So I'm going to just kind of have to position my can so I can get this on here. And I don't lift my, once I get my napkin where I like it, it's kind of centered and positioned where I like it, I keep it there. I kind of just hold it with my hand, and I'm going to flip this bottom part over. And I have a pretty decent amount of Mod Podge on here. This, you just want to rub in to the can. And you, again, when you do the Mod Podge, I think an error that a lot of people make when they work with Mod Podge is they put this huge amount of Mod Podge on their project underneath their designs, and what happens is the napkin gets very damp and it tears and it can bubble. So really, like, I'll just make a couple trips over this, and I want my Mod Podge to be tacky but no clumps, no lumps, no big piles of Mod Podge anywhere. So then I'm going to just kind of gently lay that down there. I'm going to start here at the bottom, work my way over. The start of this is usually the most challenging on the cans, just because these lines on these cans can be challenging to line out, but it looks like it's a pretty good start. And then what I do as I move up, I make sure I have just a little bit of Mod Podge. See, I just have a little bit of my end of my brush there. And I make sure that my brush stays wet. These cans work a little differently than the jars. Not a lot. There's not a lot of clump going on here. And that will take me to the point of where I put that initial Mod Podge down. I'm just going to kind of tear this down here a little bit. And I'm going to put some Mod Podge on the rest of this. Again, not a great deal, just enough to keep this tacky. I just want the napkin to enough for the napkin to adhere to it. Okay, I'm gonna flip this back here. So if you guys live in the South Bend, Indiana area, and we have people, viewers from all over the country, but if you live near South Bend, we have a lovely, we have lots of lavender farms, but we have one in particular. It's called Rows and Rows of Lavender, and she has a lovely selection of not just lavender. She has a variety of other flowers that she grows. And I love the stuff that she has out there. Her lavender is just beautiful. She has tuberose and lavender, and when the sun sets and it starts to get damp out, all those smells come out of those fresh flowers, and it's wonderful. So this will be one of the cans that I take over there. My delivery I'm going to make probably tomorrow to her farm. And then I don't put any flowers. I don't put any flowers in this. She usually sells bunches of the lavender to put in it. Occasionally when I do these, I'll put some of the styrofoam in here and the fake flowers. But because I know this is going to a farm and she'll put some stuff in it, I'll leave these empty. So the next step I want to do before it dries is I got a piece of saran wrap here, and I'm just laying this over here. And I'm just going to rub back and forth, and I really just want to rub those edges pretty well. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this, you guys. I'm just kind of working out if there's any wrinkles, get those out. And then once that's done, I'm just going to gently pull that back. And that looks really, really fantastic. And I don't know if you guys can see this. Hopefully not, because that's the point. You can't see how this is where I edged my napkin, and you can't see the lines where the napkin ends and then the can begins. So what I'm going to do with this is I'll let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll come in and I'll put a seal on it. The seal that I use for all my craft projects is this thing called DuraClear. I use the satin varnish. For these cans, I actually do 2 coats. When I do my jars, I do 1. But because I know these get a little more wear and tear, I actually will do 2 coats of the varnish, of the DuraClear. So I'll do that, and then to finish it, you can do quite a few things. I've seen some people just either some people might glue some wire on here. What I do is I will drill a hole in both sides of these once I put that coat on, and then I have a wire. Let me show you a wire jute string with wire going through it. And I actually got these at the Dollar Tree. They come in these nice little ropes. Occasionally at Hobby Lobby, when they have their 50% off of their ribbon, I'll go grab a couple of these, and it's really helpful. But this is what I use. I like the jute look, the kind of the country rustic look, but it has the wire in it, so I can kind of do like a little curly Q. So once this dries, and I put my coat in it, then we're going to put this jute back on there. So I've let this dry now for 24 hours, and I did put on the sealing coat. Again, I used DuraClear satin varnish. I did put 2 coats of this on, and then I went ahead and took my sanding block, and I just kind of roughed some of the can edges up. Gives it kind of that rustic look that I talked about. I really enjoy. So the last part of this that we're going to do is we're actually going to drill 2 holes in each side of this, and then I'm going to attach my jute has my wired jute that has the wire inside of it. So I'm going to just get going on this. It's pretty easy. These cans are pretty easy to drill. So I'm just going to have to see if I can do this on the table here. And kind of center on the side somewhere. And keep your hands out of the way, so when the drill goes through, you don't get the drill bit on your hand. That hurts. That's for sure. So pretty easy. So that's that side. Then I'm going to go and do this one again. I'll make sure your hands are away from anywhere that hole, where that drill bit's going to go when you drill that hole. I'll put that. I kind of put mine right on the crease of the can, the best I can here. There you go. So there's that bit. And then what I'm going to do is put my wire on there. Now usually what I do is I will, if I can find my tape, I will get a little bit of hot glue on these edges here, because sometimes they fray off and they're challenging to get through. So we're going to see if I can get this through. My hot glue is not, you know what, I bet I can turn it on. Let me do and just turn this on. This won't take long. So while that heats up, I'm just going to show you a couple of the designs. So I did this one in the video, and let me just show you some other really cool ones. This is how one of the smaller ones look. I call those my hippie cats. Aren't those cute? So this one I went ahead and went to the Dollar Tree, and after I put the wire on this, I'm going to actually put some, got these colorful daisies, the fake daisies, and they look really, really cute in here. So I'm probably going to do that when I get done. And this has to be one of my favorite ones. Check that out. That's so awesome. So let me see where we're at with this. It's going to take a little bit of time. Well, while that's going, let me see if I can maybe get this edge through. Just gonna kind of, I do this, what I do is I go through the outside here, to the inside. Sorry, it's off camera. I kind of have to hug the can. So what I did is I got that through the hole, and then I just bring the wire back up here, and I wrap it around. Oh, my wire's coming. And then I just kind of tuck it over so that it looks really nice when it hangs up. But I get this little excess wire here, and I tuck it underneath again, so that the wire is hidden underneath and no one can get caught on that. And then it kind of holds up really nice. So I can pull on that and it holds up really, really nicely. So I do the same thing to this other side. I'm going to have to hot glue that down to the wire. And then I'm going to take this side and let me see if this is ready. Sometimes my Ryobi heats up really quickly, and it's not going to heat up quite that quickly today. This one I think I'm really going to have a challenge getting through that hole if I don't do something with it. Just kind of looking for my tape. So I can actually twist that through. I used a little bit bigger drill bit on this. So yeah, so that pulled through nicely. Okay. So again, I go through the outside, inside, and then I will bring this jute up around the front, down, and then tuck it underneath the loop inside. And if I can get it, I'm fighting with it. I am going to glue these, when this glue gun is done, I'm going to glue that jute down to that wire. I think that'll look nice. But I tucked that wire inside of there. So then what I have is this really cute can with this jute. And then what I like to do is I just kind of take my jute and I do like these kind of little, call them the curly cues. I'll do 3 little curly cues. Let me see if I can do 3 of them. And I just kind of spread it out like that. And it just gives it just a little bit of an interesting look. So again, this is again an upcycled can. Great way to save the environment, or do a little bit at a time. And then we put our 2 coats of paint on there. We Mod Podge our decoupage our napkin on there. We let it dry. We seal it, and then we add our string. Now I like to use this jute wired covered jute. You can use anything you want. There's nothing that says what you can and cannot use on these. I hope that you find this tutorial helpful. I was going to show you just a couple more designs that I did. I did some really, really cool ones. I was kind of excited. I found some really cool napkins. I get most of my napkins online from, it's called Napkin World. It's an eBay store. She's really fantastic. So I was able to find some of these from Napkin World. So that little lavender kind of farm there with some olives and lemons. That would look nice in someone's kitchen. A lot of fun. Here, I'll just show you just maybe a couple more designs because these are always fun. Bees on lavender. And again, these are just napkins that I got. Here's a couple small ones that I did. Thought this was really, really cute. And again, I'll have to drill these and I'll put the jute wire through that. A little bit of a lavender design on that one. And it says Fleur de Lavande, which is a French. And then the address, 8 Rue de Provence, Paris. So it's just kind of fun. And let me just show you 2 more here, you guys. See if I can find 2 that are really cool. Oh, this is a cool one. So we got, look at that. That is a napkin. Thought he was really cute. So this would be one that I take out to the local lavender farm, and maybe she could put some dried flowers in there. I think that'd be cute. And then this one, so I want to show you this one. This is not a napkin, you guys. So a lot of my stuff I can do custom. So this, I actually found this picture online. I thought it was a really cool looking picture. So I was able to print it out on my tissue paper. I just used my simple Canon ink printer, and it just came out really, really clear and really pretty. I just thought this would be a really neat design as well. And one of the things that I did, see if I can find this. This is the first time I did this one. This will be the last one I show you guys. Is normally I don't wrap. This is a napkin. I think I got it from Christmas Tree Store, and it's not often that I wrap my napkins around the cans, but this was actually a perfect fit. And so I'm gonna put some after I drill the holes and put the jute wire on there, I'm gonna probably put some red, white, and blue fake flowers in there. Put some of the floral sponge in there, and then the flowers. I thought that would be really cute, like hanging up someplace for the holiday coming up. Anyways, so you guys, I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. I appreciate you guys watching, and remember, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and keep checking back. I'm going to try to get some new videos and more videos with some of the things I decoupage. I'm going to be working on a video soon showing you guys how to decoupage the canvas bags, which is something that I also do. So look for that. And again, if you have any questions or feedback, love to hear from you guys. All right, remember, click and subscribe.